Very good evening to all the viewers. Today we are up for this session under Placement Trends 2020, where we are talking about hiring trends and change in technologies. So today we are very excited for this because SISTec always commit you that, talking about trending skill sets, talking about change technologies and those skill sets who are, for the coming years. So today we are technocrats will be prepared in some or the other brackets where they will be getting a secure placements in a particular skill set which is trending these days. So Salesforce it is, and allow me to welcome a guest of honor today, Miss Steffi Daniel, Senior HR, ABSYZ, Youngsoft INC. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome to this particular platform where we are talking about a very trending skill set which comes from the computer science branch, that is Salesforce. So ma'am, we are very excited to hear from you that what all technology demands from this era. Please.
Right. So I hope I'm loud and clear, right?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
All right. First of all, thanks to Sharath, giving this opportunity. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually interacting with students before they join us, right? So excuse me if there are errors. So, okay. So before I get into what is Salesforce, you guys must be wondering how I know Salesforce because I'm a HR by profession, right? So I've been working with partners of Salesforce for 3 years, and I've seen the market trends, the technology patterns, and how things are. So that's how it is. So before I get into, just want to understand if anyone has an idea as to what is Salesforce is, you can just ping on the chat if you know what, at least or a bit of info on Salesforce. Anyone here? All right. Okay. Let me just start the session in that case. Right. So, if you have to see Salesforce, I would say we can see it in three different forms. Right. First, as an organization, and second, Salesforce as a product or a solution to the industry, and third, as a technology. So when we talk about Salesforce as a company, it's very simple. They are into cloud computing services, right? Providing software as a solution to the customers or businesses across globe. So second, when you come to Salesforce as a product or a solution, it is a CRM tool, which means customer relationship management tool. So, how the business works with Salesforce is they have a very base product. They partner with other IT organization like the one which I work for, or Deloitte, or Infosys, and further develop the product depending on the customer's requirements. For example, if I have to say, you guys all know English as the base language, right? But if you take a Spanish or Italian, it's different. But when you see the alphabets, they all are from the 26 alphabets that we have. So something like that is what Salesforce is also built on Java. But they have a own language called Apex. But the base is Java, but they call it as Apex because of the way they use the code or write the code. So that is what Salesforce is first all about, right? And why, when we come to why industries require Salesforce, before that, I want to ask Prachi, is this just one side view or people can also ask questions between the sessions?
Steffi, people can ask questions. They can drop down all the queries in the chat box. So Sharath Branch will pick up those and we'll let you know.
Okay. So for now, all are clear, I suppose, right? What is Salesforce?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So now why industries or business require Salesforce? See, we actually live in a fast-paced world. So industries require automated tool or automation to run their organizations in this competitive world. So that's how Salesforce provides solutions for them, right? For example, if I want to generate a report using Excel, I sit manually and do it. I have to upload the data, run through each and every, row and column to get the output. But with a tool like Salesforce, I just need to upload the data for once where it's automatically stored and I can pull the data whenever I want whatever reports I want, and that's how Salesforce works, and that's how industry sought towards Salesforce, right? So I can give another example how industries use it or how it can be done. I'll take an example of a manufacturing organization. Supposedly, if I am a sales head and I have a 5 member team of sales individuals or salespersons, okay, I have to track the performance of my team. What product are they selling? How are they selling? And whom are they meeting? So if I have to do it manually, I have to either call them, text them, write a mail, which is a lot of pull of my energy and time. But with Salesforce, when coming to play, I have a user login, so does my team. They just have to upload the data, and I can log in and check as a manager the access that I have, where they are, and where do we lag, and how to improve the performance. So that's how the industry is used, and it is not industry specific. Salesforce has a wide vertical. It can be banking, it can be financial institution, education, manufacturing, automobile, real estate, be across any verticals in industry, healthcare, right? Uh, they're not restricted, their industry domain specific, but they are pretty much open, right? That's how it is. Like I said earlier, they have the base product, and on the base product, the partners like us build further depending upon the industry requirements for each customers, right? So there was a one question that I had from the college is why Salesforce is trending or a hot skill. See, as a technology, it is trending because it is user friendly, right? At one click, we want everything to be available in front of a screen, not by 50, 20 clicks. So, in that way, Salesforce is much user friendly. You don't have to really go through a 20-page user guide to actually access or use it, right? That is one. Second, the time of computing a task or completing a task that we look for is comparatively less to many tools which is available in the market. There are many other CRM tools. There are organizations that build CRM tools on their own, but comparatively, since it's less time consuming and user friendly, the technology in itself is hot. And the third most point is the marketing strategy of Salesforce. Whenever they have an upgradation, they create a hype around it. You ask anyone from the industry, they would definitely point out to the marketing, strategy of the organization in itself. See, every year, for example, you have Microsoft 10 this year, next year it'll be 11, 11x. There hasn't been much change, but how you create the hype or the sound around it and things like that make Salesforce again trending on top, right? And the fourth would be the acquisition. They've acquired one of the best competitors in industry like Tableau and MuleSoft, which added to variety of their technologies. That as an organization, but when it comes to you as a student or as an individual, uh, in a very simple language, it's one of the high paid technology right now, like many other like data science and so on. So that is how the Salesforce is hot skill and trending, right? So now, next question was, as a student, how do I learn Salesforce or how do I understand Salesforce outside college before I get into any job, right? So it is with Salesforce much easier because they have an entire fun learning and earning interactive system called Trailblazer. Just give me a second. I'll ping the link to you guys on the chat, right? Just a
Sure.
moment.
If we talk about university curriculum to be uploaded for these technocrats of coming generation, so we have
Right.
seen that that particular syllabus is oftenly it is not upgrading. So what we are providing them, like extra classes or extra teaching methods, or we have asked the
Yeah.
or the corporate faculties to teach them a particular skill set. But again, the challenge is what, like all these product based technologies, they are pretty much have a hitch to take the freshers on a particular platform. So
Right, right.
as something for them, those who can develop such criteria, who is actually going to learn fundamentally fine, and they would be providing something from the corporate side or the product based company side, there like live projects or interns, so that at least that gap between experienced candidate and the fresher, they can develop such a zeal, so that they would
Right.
be very happy to share um, uh, learning out a particular skill, and then that particular skill will provide them a career path. Otherwise, what is happening, like students are getting learn about machine learning and Python, and when they are going for the companies about the same skill set, they are sorry, we need some experienced
True.
candidate for the same.
See, to answer that question, right, what we study in college is entirely different what you actually imply in the industry. Because I come from an engineering background, but I choose management later part of engineering. But what I've seen with friends and colleagues, what they study is just a very basic, very, very basic. That is the stepping stone for the industry, right?
Right.
So, but what you work on, irrespective of whether you learn Python, machine, what to our language, it's going to be different to what, because this is completely theoretical and this is much more live and practical than it's actually the user end that you're going to work on. So that is
Yes.
entirely different. One. Second, like you said, industries just hire students are not aware of the platform. That is one of the reason being, see, with multinationals, what happens when they go for a campus hiring? They just hire what they might probably test on the C, C#, Java basic skill set and logical reasoning, analytics, and so on. But they do not even during the training they will not be actually informing them at times, because that's the bandwidth that they have. So only when they complete the training, depending upon what requirements which project has, this is something called resourcing. So accordingly, they pull in people and people follow that particular path. But same thing if you start working with a mid-level organizations or a startup, they work on a focused technology, maximum one or two. So in that way, when the student takes up a startup or a very young or a mid-sized organization, he or she knows what they're entering into or what they want to choose. So that's where the difference comes in actually. And of course, these interactive classes will definitely help them. But then they should always keep a mindset open for huge difference in it, right?
Right.
So that,
And at least they must aware what all technologies are coming,
yes,
and next
yeah, a
5 to 10
general
years.
knowledge will always
Right.
help them as to what,
Right.
and depending on their interest, then probably they can apply or approach a company as to what. See, again, this is not 10, 15 years back, right? Now we have option to choose. As a student, since from a placement point, you guys are actually encouraging them, which is a good thing to do. So they have much understanding to what they want to do. So accordingly, they can obviously research about the organizations, Google, and things like that, because not just campus, they still have opportunities outside. There are people who take up later outside also. So again, it's just a two-way, what you guys do for them and what they themselves do for themselves as well. So that's how it is. So
Right.
I just pinned the link. So guys, use this particular link. This gives a very interactive stepwise guide for learning what is Salesforce and what are all available in Salesforce. There are different modules, subsets, and at times you even can win vouchers by doing certain trailers, badges, and all, right? Or you don't require somebody's help. You just have to sign up for free and start learning it. There's something called beginner's guide. Start off with a beginner's guide. Slowly, that will create a trail mix for you according to what you look onto it. So it's everything is preset. You just have to explore the tool, and that's how it is. And there is one particular program called Student Mentorship Program where you can guys can sign up again in Trailblazer itself, right? They will tag you to a mentor who's from the industry, maybe a 5 year, 10 year resource or developer to guide you in Salesforce. That is again something that you choose to do it. So yeah, so
That's
this
great.
use this link, and that will take you give a clear picture of what it is all about Salesforce. Because what I'm saying is just for few minutes, it's a huge subject to handle onto. So that is how that is about Salesforce. Any questions have they asked about Salesforce? Anything else?
Yeah, I can read out from the dialog box. Like few
Sure.
students get to know about, uh, what is there any particular time to learn these skill set, or we can learn it via 3 months or 4 months something.
See, it depends. There are many tools in this, right? So it depends. They have given the duration for each tool and each module. Whenever you have free time, it's more of what to say, even the weekends, 1 hour if you do, also it's a learning. So nothing like 3 months, 4 months. Guys, first of all, being a fresher, don't ever set a time for learning, right? Learning is never ending. Whether you're a fresher or an experienced resource of 10 years, we all get to learn something or the other all through our career. So never have a time frame, to be precise. So keep it open, right? It's not something 3 months, it's not a kindergarten or a school, right? Industry is huge, so keep learning. And though I'm talking about Salesforce, today it is Salesforce. Few years back it was MS Dynamics, and few years it was CFD, Sybil CRM, right? So there's something called Service now, which is slowly picking up. So the trend changes every 3 or 4 years. Just keep upgrading yourself. So never put a tag like 3 months or 4 months, just keep learning. So that trailblazer link, even if you learn for a year, it gives you that period time of tools and things like that. So there's nothing as specific 3 or 4 months. It depends on if your interest is towards Salesforce or you want to explore more about it. That's how it is,
All
right?
right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm also getting a questions from a student that he's asking that whether this Salesforce and SAP ERP are the same.
Somewhat similar, but not same.
Okay.
Right, and there are a lot of difference, not just via the technology base, but the use, like I said, it's comparatively friendly, the time consumption, so it's little way bit advanced in many aspects of it. They are similar but not the same. They all provide solutions for businesses, organizations, but of course they are entirely different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Some specific roles and responsibility you want to share if we are getting into Salesforce in insights.
Okay, so when you say roles and responsibility, are you talking about technology side or how is it? Or
Uh,
just
an
general?
overview, just for a
Okay.
candidate because he's a fresher and he's pursuing. He wanted to get to know about these particular skill set insights. So, what all roles and responsibility would be?
I could give you overview in general because profile and designation is never restricted to the technology or the skills that you work on, right? So two parts. You have a technical career path, which start off with a junior associate, mid-level developer, lead, architects, technical manager, then you become a CTO, VP on technology side. That is one path of career. Another one is you start off technology, but you move to a functional role later, like a project manager, more of that particular line, functional consultant and things like that. That's up to the individual. Some continue towards tech; those are little geek, towards kind of interest, and some believe in handling team and all. So they change it. So it again depends on the individuals. You have both the career path set for you. It's about how you take it further. Some start off with the very beginning itself in the techno-functional roles, like interacting with customers and just doing a little bit of technology. But some love to do the complete tech, so they're more of an individual contributor, and that's how the path is. So it is both the ways. You can have complete tech, you can have functional as well. Just
All
again,
right.
how you take your path forward.
All right. During this pandemic, we are seeing talking about a basic comparison between the service industry and the product industry. We are getting a good calls and offerings from the product side itself, which is
Right.
yeah, and almost all these students who are into final years, they are looking up for this mentorship program and everything. So, for
Mhm.
example, once they will be completing or they will be going through this particular mentorship program, is there something we can relate it to internship or full time, which can be provided technical insights from the corporate itself?
See,
Because learning
mentorship
is
is
one thing,
Mhm.
and yeah, learning is one thing, and to apply that particular application for the client side is the another thing. And of course, it requires patience and to
Mhm.
master this technology. And once I guess these students will be provided opportunity to learn on the corporate side, so it will get more benefit to them.
Okay. So your first question was product been hiring more than the services, right? So see, reason is simple. Product is I have built something and I'm selling directly. Service is I'm depending on other industry.
Nah, product.
See, When a service company like us, we have service and product both. When I depend on another IT company as a service, my business is still on. Say, for example, Act Broadband, right? Now everything is online. If Act is my customer, I will still make money. But if automobile industry is my customer right now, the market is down, people are not going to job, things like that, right? So what happens, people had to cut down the jobs and hiring. That's how service industry had to slice down on the hiring and things like that. But when it comes to product, I'm selling it direct to the user end, right? So that's how this thing, there's a difference in the industry because I'm relying on a third person for my business to pay my employees, but in a product it is my own solution that I am selling. So there's a difference. That's how the hiring is different in a product, and the learning is also equally different in a product and services. Services, what happens, sometimes you get to work on an existing project which can be a 10-year-old project also, but product is every time there's an upgradation happening, right? Something new that they infuse and things like that. So that is something, a scratch learning is what we always say in the HR industry. Product, I always encourage people to have at least one experience in a product company because that would boost the technical career a way lot than a services. Because you depends on what project you get in a service industry and the product is entirely different. It's all the situation at that moment what they get in a services. So there's always a difference, but opportunities are equal in every genre, whether it's product or services. Yeah,
All
right.
right. All,
And the last question you asked for mentorship and internship, right?
yes.
So mentorship and internship is entirely different.
Different.
Mentor is someone who guides you on a base level. Intern is it's more of a training that you have to do this. This is your job is dependent on that. But mentor is someone who guides you. So that mentorship program will give a knowledge, but that will not give a hands-on training. An internship to full-time job will always give the hands-on training. But again, it depends on organization. Sometimes they change the term as mentorship, but usually internship is the right word. So it's always best to join them as an intern and then convert to full time. See, even if they don't get to a campus, it is not all a problem because any company which hires a fresher will always have a pre-planned training program, 3 to 6 months, right?
Right.
So not necessarily if they didn't perform in the college internship or they didn't get an internship in the college, that doesn't really matter. Once they get on to any job, they will obviously have a 6 months to 3 months or 6 months of training according to the model, and then they put on. See, no one will put an individual or a student directly into a project, right? You finish the training based on your training, scores or what the updates that we have. They try to align as a shadow resource. First, you follow your seniors, how they do, what they do. Slowly, slowly, they start giving you a small task to do. And depending upon your capability, they start increasing, and that's how you get pulled into a project. It's not like you finish the training today, tomorrow you're gonna jump in to
Right.
a direct project or a customer interaction. It's always a slow process. Some see the thing is it also depends on how the fresher grabs it, right? For some, it's very fast paced. I've seen people comparing themselves. You cannot always have first ranks everywhere. We also need a 10th rank, right? So that's how it is. Depending upon the performance pace, they add on the task, and that's how they get pulled into a project. When they say they've added to a project, doesn't mean you're alone in the project. You will be a shadow. You will start following someone, seeking help and learning. You will also understand the system. And that's how you
Right.
get into complete project. And that's how your career grows gradually. Right? So that's how
All
it
right.
is.
All
Right?
right, that's great. These days when we are talking about pandemic and showing all the negative curls towards hiring and opportunities. So on a crux, we can always talk about that side and this side of the organization. So, but talking about the fresher hirings, we have a very good product management program which is designed by our faculty experts,
Mhm.
and we have already communicated to the other product companies as well. As much we can aware, like during this particular session hirings will be done, but later on when we talk about numbers it will be a bit less. So when you talk about a less number of hiring, so they put more emphasis on the competitive advantage. So these
Yes.
students have to be on toes, and they will be learning with proactiveness
Right.
all the skill set which are trending these days, and of course they will be multitasker at particular times. So
Right,
when
right.
they are learning, so every company is, first time we have seen the selection process with starts with the logic reasoning and fonts and everything. It ends with the managerial interview or the technical firm. So basically these format will be laid down. Now these days what is happening, like first you have to clear all these basic rounds, which is technical in nature as of now, and then a particular mentorship will deliver from the company side. They provide an assessment in a span of 15-20 days. You have to complete the assessment and submit it positively. So on the
Right,
basis of that particular logic and algorithms, people are getting the jobs. So in fact that filtering process by the corporates are very strategic, and I found it very positive note where a student has a number of stages to perform, and then a best route we are selecting for the same. So
right.
anything related to this are up from your side or organization?
Okay, so you're talking about the process and things like that, right?
Yeah.
That, yeah, see, we live in a competitive world, right? So people want a multitasker, want someone who's very proactive. That is something that every company looks into it. A proactiveness is something that they require, and a multitasker, of course. Since it's a competitive world, they want to grab the best of it. But there are flaws in these processes as well. Of course, that's the best process any company could follow, but sometimes it so happens we tend to lose also certain talents, right?
Right.
So such talents we end up in hiring from outside, I mean, as a fresher or things like that. See, process is set so that we try to streamline things and keep it much less messier, equally understanding. And these process also helps, it creates an impression of an organization to the students, among the students. If I just keep 1 or 2 rounds and I hire, and if I keep 5, 7, it's a learning stage. So it is a learning stage of each interview process because they come out of that fear of clearing an interview or cracking an interview. Sometimes first time doesn't happen, the second time it happens. So us, what we have is, of course, like everyone else, we also start off with logical, reasoning, and we have this written test. It's basic to write. You just need to know a C or a C sharp or a Java. Most of the companies check on those skill set itself, right? So we give a scenario based questions like write an integer or pull a string or something like that. So that's how the return test is. We have three different level of screening for return. On the basic questions, so if they get through, we have a different set of questions for to checking the logic. All the technical writing tests precisely look for logic. If the logic is right, the rest we adjust here and there with the code, it's fine. But the logic has to be very important for a software technology student. That is how it is. They can come from any engineering background, but the logic has to be very clear because we've hired people who, when we see the code, the logic is so clear. We've taken people like that, even if they couldn't speak properly or they're very shy introvert, but logic is very important in all these things, right? Yeah.
Right. Right.
Any other
This is
questions?
Yeah,
Right.
I guess all the questions you have already answered. So
Right.
I guess it was a very insightful session from Salesforce point of view, and all my students are really keen. Hearing from our side and hearing from experts is very different stage,
Right.
and you can it is better that an HR will be delivering all these points to them. So a seriousness plus a kind of
Yes.
positiveness
Yeah.
is
True.
that,
True.
because you are talking about a product company which is ready to hire but only demanding that you should be very skillful and you have to be very strategic these days because.
Okay. So before I close, I just want to add few more points as a HR note, right? First, like I said, willingness to learn that should never stop. That we always look into a fresher, right? Certain scenarios, even though the interviews feedbacks are different, but the way they, the keenness to learn things, learn technology, be it anything. So that is very important. Next is how you treat others. See, what happens when you come as a fresher to a workplace, we all have that casual attitude, right? I've been a fresher once, you all have been a fresher once. So some of them I've seen there's a pattern. just because they've got hired to campus, they carry that attitude, right? Even lateral hires have that. I know all, kind of personality. That as a HR, I would never encourage in individuals, right? So open to learn, talent always, guys. Talent can never be taken from a textbook. I would always see that. You can write a written test, you can write clearer code, but when it comes to practical, things are different. So always be prepared practically. Never stop learning. Your personality depends on how you treat others as well, which is very important, because what happens is when you grow in a career, you become a manager or a lead. How you treat your team is how you get treated. I mean,
Uh, Steffi, can you hear us?
I guess there's some network issue
Yeah.
from his her side.
All right. So we will request Steffi to judge on all these points and deliver it to you via message or mail. So we have all the chat scenes with us. I will be sharing right away. Do enter the link and go for the registrations and enter for the mentorship program, because this is so very up for the situation that you will learn and provide a particular platform to your career base. So I would like to thank Steffi that she has connected so far and with taking some space from her busy schedule. So signing off as of now, and we will deliver all your questions and so that she can answer and will deliver back to you. Thank you so much.